Hey everybody, how are you? I hope you're having a great Wednesday. It's kind of a cloudy day here in Boston, but we are excited to do our member spotlight, which we get to do every single Wednesday, where we drop in on a Craft Industry Alliance member and learn more about their business. Sometimes we get to see around their studio a little bit, or we get to see samples of their products and just learn about their creative journey. So it's always an exciting interview, and I always look forward to them. Today we're going to be speaking with Kelly from Paper Bead Rollers. And Kelly, I see that you've joined, so hit that plus sign at the bottom and I'll welcome you. And I'm really excited to learn about Kelly's business because she's really to create something that's beautiful out of materials you already have lying around your house. For sure, we all do. So I'm really excited to hear more about it. Hi, Kelly.
Hi, how are you?
I'm great. So nice to see you. You've got a much sunnier day than I have here.
Yes, we're actually traveling today. So we stopped at this beautiful North Carolina rest stop. I hope you can hear me okay.
Absolutely, I can hear you perfect. Okay, North Carolina, we got sunny weather there. So very nice to see you, and I'm excited to learn more about your business. So you have a tool that you've invented, and it's called it's a paper bead roller. So for people who are like, "What is that?" Tell us what it is.
Well, I didn't invent it, so I can't take credit for that. But we did make what we think is probably one that's easier to use. So first, let me show you the results of the tool. So a lot of people, when I tell them about paper beads, they're like, "Oh, I did that in Scouts, or I did that at summer camp," and they remember doing it as a child with a straw. And they don't realize that now paper beads can actually mean high fashion jewelry. So let's see if these can go in.
Oh
So
yeah!
this is made of paper.
Wow.
And then here's a necklace made of this similar paper. So then this one I combined the paper with traditional spacers. And then you can also do a totally different look. So this is a bracelet with what I call mini beads. Um, those are all paper, and these cones at the end, there we go, are also paper.
You would never know.
I know. And this one is another completely different look. So this is a paper that I put through a machine to, oh gosh, I just forgot the word, but it creates the bend.
Okay.
And then you roll it. So you can make very elegant jewelry out of paper. And the way it works, this is the tool. So we actually have two that we sell. This was the original one back in 2015
Yeah.
that my husband helped me improve on. I was having trouble finding one. I had seen a paper bead necklace, and as like any good crafter, I said, "Hey, I want to do that, right?" And so I had trouble finding a tool out there that was well put together. And so we made our own. And I said, well, if I need it, other people need it. And so I put it up on Amazon, and it started selling pretty much immediately.
Wow.
And then last April, I had been wanting for a while to create a more ergonomic tool because as I get older, I'm getting some arthritis, hands are hurting. And so I designed this handle, and we manufacture this out of my studio here in North Carolina. This is a plastic, but it's made from corn.
Okay.
So it will not stay in our environment forever. It does long-term biodegrade, which is really important to me. But the way that you roll a paper bead is you cut out a strip of paper. I've got one right here. So this is just a piece of cardstock, but you can do this with old food boxes. Like if you're done with your snack food or your frozen food, you can literally cut the box into strips and turn it into something useful.
So cool.
So you just slide it in the slot of the roller. There's like one long slot around the edge,
Okay.
and you just roll it. And I won't do the whole thing because
Yeah.
that will take a little while, but you just roll it and glue the end down. And you coat it in a hardening glaze, like diamond glaze or Deco Arch triple thick, something like that. And then you have these beads. These earrings are 8 years old.
Wow. So that was going to be my next question, which was how do they hold up? What about if it's like a humid day or you get caught in a rainstorm?
Yeah, once you glaze them with the hardening glaze, they are water resistant. So if you have a bracelet or a ring, you can wash your hands, not have to worry about it. You can sweat on it. People have done tests. I haven't done any like official like testing, but generally we found that if you do a good job, you put maybe 2 coats of glaze on it, it can last submerged in water for 3 to 5 hours, completely
Wow.
submerged.
Wow.
And then
Okay.
it'll start to unravel.
Right. Yeah, exactly. That's really, really cool. So I could see this being like you could do this as craft night because it's not hard once you understand how it works. It's not like difficult to get started. It's just becomes something that you can do while you're talking with your friends and relaxing and connecting with people.
Absolutely. And it's a very small niche inside the paper crafting niche, right?
Okay.
So a lot of people who do card making or stamping, and they have like stacks of leftover paper. They've used it on their projects. They don't want to use it again. They might not even like the paper anymore.
Right.
You know how that goes?
I have a big
And
stack upstairs and I'm not even that big of a card maker. So,
yeah, see, and the thing is, when you roll these beads, the final bead that you get often doesn't look anything like the paper you started with.
right.
So you can completely use up those old papers and revitalize. And if you don't have stacks of paper, like I said, you can use cardboard boxes, any paper that will roll. I've used cloth. My dad actually decided to challenge himself, and he rolled some beads out of a aluminum soda can
Wow.
using my rollers.
That's so cool. So definitely room to experiment with materials that you have on hand and use them to create cool things with them. So
Yeah.
that's
It,
super cool.
I'd say it's one of the least expensive. I'm a serial crafter, right? Over the years, I've done probably just about every craft under the sun. This is one of the least expensive crafts. The tools are a little bit of an investment. I think maybe like $13 for the one, and then if you buy a set, there's a little bit of a discount. But other than that and the hardener, you
Right.
can pretty much use what you have. You use school glue, just regular old white school glue. You use the paper you already have on hand.
Yeah. It's so
Yeah.
cool. So as far as being, I love that you're sort of like an inventor of this tool, and I think that's super interesting. So just from the business angle of it, when you made the first one with it looked like a wooden handle, what were some of the challenges there? And then when you went to the plastic one with the biodegradable plastic handle, like what was the challenges there? I'm just wondering, as far as from getting something manufactured, I think a lot of people are like, wow, I would love to do something. I have an idea like that, but it seems like really mysterious and difficult.
Yes, and it was probably a 2-year journey towards developing the new handle. And the wooden ones are great. The problem is they're very labor intensive to make them correctly. So the biggest complaint about, because there are other paper beading tools on the market. Like I said, I didn't invent it, but tried to make a better one. And the biggest complaint is the pin falls out. You know, the little metal pin will fall because you can put a lot of stress on this. I always know my people who are hard paper beaters that hold it really, really tight. I
Yeah,
can see it, the damage. And so I do a year warranty for that reason. Um, but there's 8 steps to do this correctly. And so I wanted, with prices going up, I really try not to increase my prices. So I wanted to come up with a handle that was more ergonomic, but also was more efficient to make.
yeah,
And so what I did is I downloaded some 3D modeling tools. So CAD would be like the big professional tool,
yeah,
but I used Fusion 360, which you can use for free. And I did a lot of tutorials on YouTube
yeah.
and learned how to model. And then I just designed a bunch of handles, picked the one that I like the best. Now I have a pretty big following. So I do tutorials on YouTube. My
Oh,
YouTube
wow.
channel, Teletron Paper Bead Rollers. We're almost hitting 12,000 subscribers.
Wow. So go
I just need
subscribe.
like 20 more people.
Yes, go tell us the name of your YouTube channel real quick so we can find
It's
it.
Teletron Paper Bead Rollers.
Okay.
So if you just go onto YouTube and Google paper bead rollers, and I'll come up. My
Right.
videos are all over.
Okay.
So I also have a Facebook group called Paper Bead Fanatics, and so I went in and I asked the Paper Bead Fanatics, hey, I need 20 testers. So I got 20 people to volunteer, and I sent them the prototype, and I had them make 100 beads each, and they gave me excellent feedback. A couple people broke it, so we fixed any weak spots.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they loved it in the end, and so that's how we came up with our final version and put it on the market last April, so a little over a year.
Are you 3D printing them or are you having them made outside?
So I am still 3D printing them. I have multiple 3D printers and an entire room dedicated.
Yeah, that's
And
so
then
cool.
I've also come up with multiple other products. And oh, I forgot to bring one, but I use these needle nose glue
Oh
bottles
yeah.
because it, very precise with where the glue goes and you don't have a lot of glue on your bead. But the caps tend to stop up. So I solved that problem. I created a stopper cap for this
Okay.
that I now sell. I sell these on my website with the stopper caps. I also created, oh, this is a little cup so that when you don't have to cap this every time. You can just turn it upside down and then while you're crafting.
Right.
I also created some hard plastic stencils that I sell with the 3D printer. Um, so that because a lot of people have trouble depending on what shape the strip is, that dictates, it's one of the three things that dictates what your bead's going to turn out like. But people sometimes have trouble, hey, freehanding the shapes. Like I give them all the dimensions in my YouTube videos,
So you're
but they
talking about like
wanted,
it might be if you wanted to make one that's more of an oval shaped bead, a rounder bead, right?
yeah,
So the
yeah,
strip itself has to either be like tapered in a certain way.
yeah. And like the cone bead.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
so the shape of the strip, and there's also very complicated ones. I have ones that actually make flowers,
Oh my God.
bow tie beads. I have a cuff bracelet bead that there's two beads that's kind of fit together when you lash them onto the cuff. So
Right.
it's endless creativity with
Right.
this
So getting
craft.
a stencil for something like that, where it's difficult to sort of imagine in your mind, how is this going to roll up into something that's going to be that shape? Is just,
Exactly.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool.
So yeah, so I have some hard plastic stencils. I also print on the 3D printer with the biodegradable plastic. And then I also sell digital files where you can print pattern strips on your home printer and cut them out and
Right.
roll them.
Yeah,
So,
that makes sense. I feel like this
so
is inspiring me that we actually have several members who have invented products that they're printing on their 3D printer. I can think of two or three other people. So I'm
yeah.
actually wondering whether we should do like a resource that would be like, what is the right 3D printer to get? Because I know nothing about 3D printers, but my guess is folks who have a whole
Yeah.
bunch gone through this process of developing these products know like all the qualities and like which ones are like duds and which ones are really efficient and really solid.
I would love to do a class for you on how to
Yeah,
incorporate 3D printing in your crafting because I bought the wrong printer the first time. The
I
first one
get
I
it. And
bought,
how would you not? Right. There's so many.
not a good one. Yeah, but now, and I'll just tell if anyone's wondering, the Bamboo Labs
Okay.
really are great. That's what I have now, and they're great printers. They're sort of like if you think like Apple and PC or Apple and Android. Apple is a little more done for you, and if you really like to tinker, like the PC or the Android might be your better choice. I like to tinker, but not that much. So the bamboos are a really good choice to just be able to keep printing and not have, you still have issues, but you don't have to mess with it as much.
Yeah, okay, that's great. Yeah, no, I think that's it's one of those things where before you have that tool, you sort of don't understand the possibilities. But
Yeah.
once you introduce that into your toolkit and have this 3D printer at your disposal, all kinds of ideas start to come up and you've come up with dozens of ways to use it to create new products. So I feel like once you have it, you'll figure out even more ideas, you know?
Oh yeah, any excuse to maybe be able to buy another 3D printer.
Right.
Honestly, it's as addictive as it's really a digital, kind of like a digital crafting,
Yeah.
honestly.
Yeah, it's so cool. And it really has opened up a world of inventors to be able to come up with new products like the paper bead roller.
Yeah, because before I got the 3D printer, I had wanted to create a new handle, but and I actually have worked to produce some things from China. I have a contact in China that I work with, and I had been working with him to try to come up with something new, but it just wasn't translating well, and it was going to be very expensive. Whereas this, I was able to produce at a small scale. Now, at some point here soon, I am going to have to probably outsource these handles because I'm either going to have to create a 3D printing farm
Right.
to keep up with the volume.
That is tip over
Um,
at a certain point. Yeah, no,
yeah,
that makes
but
sense.
but it makes that invention process accessible and easy, and the testing process, like it makes it so you can just do it out of your home, you
Yeah.
know?
So are you still selling on Amazon or no?
Yes, Amazon is one of the big places that I sell. I've got both styles of bead roller and the stencils up there. And I do FBA where I ship everything to Amazon and then they do the shipping and customer service for me.
Right.
So that offloads a lot of that. And then we're on Michael's Maker Place,
Okay.
Etsy, and our own website at paperbeadrollers.com.
Wow, that's great. And so I'm just curious, we did do an article a while back about FBA, which is fulfilled by Amazon that you're talking about. And my understanding is like there's kind of a little bit of a barrier to getting started with FBA because there's like special labeling that you need to do. You need to like ship it to their different warehouses and things like that. And sometimes the Amazon customer is a little bit, I don't know if it's because of the anonymity of Amazon or something like that, but they're a little more like harsh with returns than the Etsy customer who realizes there's like a single individual at the other end. So how has Amazon been going for you and like getting used to that environment?
So, I mean, I've been on Amazon since 2015, so it's gotten, it's not the same place it was in 2015.
Okay.
If I were going to give you a couple of quick tips for it, number one is you really need to have a trademark and get into there. And I've just lost the name of the program, but it's the brand registry, I believe it's called.
Yes, right.
That opens up a whole slew of selling tools that you don't have, and it protects other people from hijacking your products.
Okay. So
Okay, because
protect your intellectual property if you're going to be selling on Amazon. Okay.
yes, and that trademarking process, I think it's been 2 years since I did it, but it took almost a year. So you want to, if you don't have a trademark,
I think it took 13 months for us. Yeah, but it was worth it.
yeah, it's well worth it. And so definitely having a trademark and being part of the brand registry. Also, I recommend that, there's handmade Amazon and then there's regular Amazon, right?
Yep.
Unfortunately, anything I've put through the handmade part of Amazon just doesn't get the views and the volume that regular. So I put all my stuff under regular Amazon. I don't even list on handmade anymore.
Okay, good. That's a great tip.
Yeah, it gets much more volume. And then the thing with FBA, so you can do, FBA is where you send the product to Amazon and they handle it. MFA is where people order through Amazon, but you send it from your own warehouse.
And the nice thing with the FBA is that it can be Prime. So for those shoppers, right, who are shopping and they have Prime, they select that little Prime button and they only want to see listings that are going to come next day. That's why it can come next day because it's already at the warehouse.
Exactly. And that gives you a huge increase in sales. Having that Prime, because I have all of my listings up as both Prime and manual. And the only time I really get listings from the manual ones is if I run out of inventory at Amazon. I'll get a few orders coming through until I can get it restocked. But here's the biggest challenge, I think, with FBAs. Well, there's a couple. And you were 100% right in everything you said. But the fees keep going up. And so, probably a good 50% of my retail price goes directly to Amazon. So why do I still do it? Because it is the best marketing that I could have. So you have to sort of think of FBA as you outsourcing marketing, reaching people that you wouldn't be able to reach on your own. And also you are outsourcing your picking and packing and shipping. So you're paying them to do those things.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a very good way to think about it. It's lead generation and it's a warehouse person, basically, that you're paying for.
It is, because if I had to, the volume that we sell on Amazon, if I had to ship all that out of my house, like I actually have one employee now that's part-time and I'm hiring a second one to help me with product production and shipping, but I would need to have a whole team to keep up. Yeah. And so paying, you really have to crunch the numbers and say, how much am I paying Amazon for the service? How much would it cost me to do? What's the overhead on a warehouse?
Right. Yeah. So that's so helpful. So thank you for sharing those tips for people who are like, I always wondered how this works. And so that's really, I think it's really helpful to hear. So, all right, tell us one more time where we can go. We want to follow you on YouTube. We want to go and buy one of the ones with the new handles and give it a try. And then maybe like host a craft night at your house, at your church, at your community center, at your local coffee shop. Get everybody one, and then you make these beads. Like, it's fun. It's something you can do with kids. You can do it with adults. Make something really sophisticated. There's like lots of possibilities. So
absolutely. Well, and we're actually launching. I'm announcing it here. In August, we're launching a program where if you want to learn how to teach paper beads and go make money teaching in your community, We're going to be launching a program to help you do that in August.
That's great. So
Yeah.
helpful.
So go to paperbeadrollers.com is the website. And you can sign up on the mailing list and you'll get the first notification when that program opens. And there's also links on there to go to my YouTube channel, Amazon, wherever you want to go that has our stuff. Our Paper Bead Fanatics Facebook group, all the links are there at paperbeadrollers.com.
And my guess is if you join that Facebook group, you're going to see all kinds of really creative, interesting examples of ways that, because you can never even imagine like what people who, once they get this tool, come up with, the kinds of papers they're using, the kinds of beads they're making, combinations they're putting together. So my guess is that would be a really good place to get inspiration.
Yeah, and we have 4,000 members, so it's a pretty big group. And so you're getting all kinds of input from different areas of the world even. And I learn stuff from them every day. Like I might be the YouTube girl, but they teach me every day.
100%. There's nothing like, and from a business perspective, it really speaks to the value of creating a community for your customers to interact with one another.
Absolutely.
And but like you use them as testers, but then they're there, they're talking to each other. They probably really enjoy that, and they have a place to show off what they're making, to talk to you and have access to you as the maker of the tool and the person who's doing the demos and that kind of thing. So I feel like it's such a valuable thing, and it's overlooked, but it's free. Set up a Facebook group, and you know what? Like, it's so valuable. Yeah.
Exactly.
So awesome. Well, this has been great, Kelly. I'm so glad we had a chance to get to know you a little bit. Thank you so much for coming on today, and we'll see you next week, everybody. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thanks.
Bye, everybody. See you.